Good afternoon. Welcome back to our third day of our virtual fair. Remember, if you log on, please let us know that you're logging on so we can put your name in the drawing for the grand prize. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about marijuana. I understand marijuana is a very, very touchy subject, so we're going to try to clear up as much myth as we possibly can. And I'm going to let Jodi start off by explaining where the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition stands on the marijuana issues.
Okay. Well, hi guys. Glad you're here with us tonight. First, I want to say I am stepping in for Alex McCarthy. He's actually the chairperson for the Marijuana Committee, Prevention Committee here with the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition. So I'm filling in for tonight. Um, this should be a really kind of fun and interesting conversation tonight. Marijuana, it is. Diane mentioned it's touchy. I think people really struggle with their understanding of marijuana, different forms. When you hear THC versus CBD, there's a lot to know. So, the Tuscarawas County Anti Drug Coalition, our mission and vision, our vision is to have empowered youth living healthy and drug free lives. Okay. Our mission is how do we prevent that from happening using effective prevention strategies. So, our discussion tonight is all going to be about youth marijuana prevention, and that is also the focus of the Anti Drug Coalition. So, we're not going to talk about marijuana as medicine or medical legalization. We're not going to be talking about adult use, or what we're going to be talking about is how does marijuana use affect an underdeveloped brain. So, is that a good place to start?
Yes.
Okay. So, um, what the Marijuana Committee has been doing for the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition, we had found for years, it was really a hard subject to discuss with the community because there was always a lot of pushback. Well, I know somebody that used, or, I use and I'm fine, or, but it's medicine, and all kinds of issues come up when we have this conversation. So what we set out to do is just focus on why is it not okay for our kids. So in order to do that, we have been collecting data over time. What are people's perceptions? What are the perceptions here in Tuscarawas County? But we also have really kind of focused in on how does marijuana use affect our young people. So what we did is the Marijuana Committee just developed a position paper on youth marijuana use. And I gotta say, if anyone knows me, I am the president of the Ohio Statewide Coalition Association. I'm on the board of directors for the Prevention Association for Professionals here in Ohio. But I think what Tuscarawas County developed from the Alcohol Committee is probably the best research document on youth marijuana use that is out there. And I say that because we spent a lot of time. We brought an expert in to guide us through this process. We convened community leaders from all different sectors here in Tuscarawas County that were not on the Anti-Drug Coalition um, to to give us input and information on how youth marijuana use affected young people from from their perspective. So we had law enforcement, we had educators, superintendents,
Business owners,
business owners, um,
principals,
principal,
or superintendent was there.
superintendent. We had someone from Kent State, Tuscarawas, Ohio Means Jobs, the agricultural community. I mean, we really had a well represented,
Diverse group.
diverse group on this particular issue. So, first we met, we convened, we had a facilitator who led us through a process of having some conversation around this issue. And then we went back to look at what does research tell us on this issue. So, all the research that we use to guide our position paper is recent. It's not past studies. It's really, when you look at this document, it's from research that has happened in
The most up to
2019 and
date.
even 2020. Yeah, very up to date from the Surgeon General, reputable colleges, health organizations. So I honestly say this is not a biased report. This is a very researched academic report. So in that, the areas of concern that we identified and looked at research on is that legalized marijuana leads to increased youth marijuana use. Now, why that was one of the areas we kind of stuck on is we're watching what's going on in the United States, and we've seen efforts already here in Ohio to have recreational legalization on the ballot. And we know that's going to continue to come. So we just want to keep our eyes on what's happening in states that legalize recreationally and how does that impact our youth. So we are seeing trends that states that legalize recreationally are having increased youth use. In fact, the one national study we looked at, I'm going to try to find this.
While you're looking
Okay.
for that, will this position paper be on the website?
You tell me that. Diane's in charge of all the materials of the coalition.
Okay, so I'm going to say that Josh will put this on the website after today's taping or tomorrow morning. So if you would like to see the position paper and all the references, we will have it on the ADC website.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you just a little bit of information here about states that have legalized marijuana for recreational use. It says of the 11 U.S. states that have legalized marijuana for recreational use, 8 of them are in the top 10 states with the highest reported youth use of marijuana. So that was one thing that we looked at. And why we did that is we want to start educating our community about, legalization and what kind of impact that could have on our young people. We also really looked at youth are more susceptible to marijuana addiction. So it's kind of that same thing we seem to talk about all the time here. Once your brain is fully developed, your chance of addiction is greatly decreased. But the younger you are that you initiate, the more chance to have dependence or addiction to a substance. And we also know that the higher potencies we have of marijuana, which we have now with recreational legalization, we definitely have marijuana addiction. In fact, that's number 2 of treatment need here in Tuscarawas County. So in Tuscarawas County, you talk about opiates, you talk about methamphetamines, you talk about crack cocaine. Alcohol still is the number 1 substance that we need treatment for, that people are struggling with addiction, and marijuana is number 2. So when people say, well, it's not an addictive substance, it is. I mean, people wouldn't get treatment for something that they were not addicted to.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not sure how much you guys can see sitting here on our table, but besides our ADC swag that we have here, over on this side, you'll see a bunch of devices. Some of this stuff, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I hear all the time is, well, our kids aren't doing it. Our kids can't get a hold of it. And that's actually kind of false. The majority of our teens are making such good decisions that a lot of them aren't doing marijuana or vaping or alcohol, but that we still have that small percentage that are. And when we start showing you some of the stuff that we have here, please understand that a lot of this came from schools. A lot of the stuff, we didn't go outside of our area. Everything was bought inside of our area. So it's very acceptable for the kids to get their hands on.
Cool. So I'll tell you what, I'll say a couple more things, then Diane will start showing you what are kids using when they're using marijuana, what forms, what potencies, what does it look like, because a lot of adults, especially my age, when they think marijuana, they're thinking a rolled joint or they're thinking like a homemade bong. Okay, so that's kind of what adults might think. But Diane's going to show you all kinds of different ways that young people are using it, and those are the ways that they are using it. They're probably not using what adults would think of. So the other thing we need to know, and our position talks about that, is the potency of THC. That which gets you high in a marijuana plant has greatly increased over time. So we looked at what was the potency of marijuana, say in the 90s, about 2% THC. And with legalization now, we see forms of marijuana that Diane's going to show you. They can go up to 80 to 90% THC. So what does that mean? It's a completely different drug. And how does that happen? It's the way they process it. It's the way they grow it. It's the way they extract the oil. So what we also need to say is there's not a lot of research on young people on those and these high levels of THC. Why not? Is who's going to give their kid up for a science experiment, a research project. So there are some unknowns that we just don't have research on, but I mean, we definitely know it's way more potent, and we know that because we see more addiction. We didn't see a lot of marijuana addiction in the past because the THC levels weren't as high. So the other thing we looked at are youth trends in marijuana. And again, that's kind of just what I was speaking about. It's not the smoke joint, it's different forms, which make it more potent. So when adults think maybe my kid isn't doing it because they're not smelling skunk in their house or around their home, some of these forms that the kids are going to be using are oils. They don't have smells. They might look like vape pens. So adults might think they're vaping tobacco or nicotine, and they're really vaping marijuana. So Diane will kind of show you that kind of stuff. And then we really researched how does marijuana impact young people, and really it comes down, it stops them from reaching their full potential. So, I mean, we all probably know people that have used and turned out fine, maybe still running business and stuff, but we also know people that might have had some barriers or it led to other substances of addiction. We've been doing a lot of recovery podcasts here with the ADC, and I can't tell you how many times people say I started with alcohol or I started with marijuana, and then they went down a path. So not everybody that uses can go down this path, but there's certainly a greater chance the younger you use and the more potent product to use. So we looked at motor vehicle accidents. We looked at barriers to complete high school, finish college, go on to other drugs, addiction. So all that research is in this document, and this is the guiding document for our coalition. So as we collect data, as we move forward, this is how we'll educate and create awareness in our community. And we're willing to come anywhere and give presentations about marijuana, what you need to know, what you need to look for. How do you talk to your kids about this? How do you have effective conversations? And if your kids are using, where do you get help or what do you do? So I'm kind of done talking then. And I'll let y'all see kind of what you have, Diane.
Okay, anyone that knows me and has been to the fair in the past knows that I'm all about hands-on. And something that we started last year when we had our booth underneath the grandstands was we had a shadow box with some of our items in it. And we realized that there's a lot of people out there that would have never known what they were looking at if it wasn't for our products. So what I had done tonight was I brought some of that stuff in, and I just want you to look at it and feel free, if you want to see it up close, please call the office. We can make arrangements for you to come in the office. We can meet you somewhere, but we can let you see, feel.
You know what? We should meet someone that sounds kind of
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
that
drug
kinda-
dealer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that did
No,
sound good, didn't
yeah.
it? But you can actually
Josh
look
can
at the
pan
stuff.
in too on this stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of it that way. Thanks, Jodi.
Yeah, it sounded really bad.
Yeah. One of the things that we're seeing a lot of is what they call a dab pen. The difference between this pen and we'll say this pen is this one right here is used to smoke marijuana only. This one you can use marijuana or tobacco in it. And the reason why they call this a dab pen is
I'm just gonna say people probably do not know what dabs are.
see,
So
I'm
yeah,
right on it.
you got that, huh?
This right here is what's classified as dabs. It's also called shatter, wax, butter.
Earwax, all kinds of stuff.
And it's the THC X. I can't say the word.
Yeah, they take the oil, the THC oil out of the marijuana plant. They extract it, and then they hit it with a high heat, and it changes forms.
And that's what, and then this right here goes into the top of the pen. As you see on the top of the pen, there's a little spoon. That's what gets the wax, the butter, and they put it in here. When they close it and they activate it, that wax melts down to the vapor. And when they do this, this is pure THC that they're inhaling.
So when we said 2% in the 90s, there's probably 12 to 18% on like a dried marijuana bud if you're smoking that. And then this can really go up to 80, 90. I mean, it can go anywhere from 20% all the way up. But the chances are you're getting a much higher potency right there.
If you hear your kids talk about the dab room, or they went to the dab room, or they went to the Joel room, that is slang for they're going someplace in the school building or outside of the school building to either hit their dabs or hit a
Joel,
Joel, an
a
e-cigarette.
vaping device.
Yes.
Yep.
Some of the other stuff that we brought was if you see a baggie laying around, might have a razor blade in it. It just might have stuff that looks like, what's your spice? Oregano.
Yeah.
What's the other allspice? It might be spice, but why would your kid have spice in their bedroom? And then some of these other ones, this is just a one hitter. And I said all of this stuff was bought locally.
So people right don't know what a one hitter is. I'm just saying.
Yep. It is. Where's my chamber? Here is the chamber. It's a wee little hole. They put the marijuana right here and they light it and they breathe in through there in the chamber. This is another example of a one hitter. The marijuana, the dry bud will go in the end of it, and it's literally, they just get one hit off of it. That's why it's called a one hitter. This one here, here's a grinder. This can be used for multiple purposes. You can grind pills up in this. You can grind your dry bud up in it. And you have to have the grinder for the dried bud or it won't fit down inside of the one hitters because you got to get that dry bud small. So if you would
It
see
removes the
something,
stems and stuff like that.
if you see something like this in your kids' room, most definitely it is not something they're using for school.
So when Diane's saying this, a lot of this stuff is in that exhibit we said hidden in plain sight. So it's all set up in a mock bedroom, and we literally have people go around. And like some people never pick this up. They just think it's a decoration because we have all kinds of stuff in the room. Not all of it's substance. Some are just little knickknacks and stuff. But this is when we say if you have a reason to kind of think your kids acting different, they have new friends, there's change in their hygiene, there's change in their music, their dress. That's a good indication that you need to be asking some questions, having conversations, and snooping heavily. So when you're snooping heavily, it's literally opening up drawers and really looking at stuff that might look like this and then realizing, why is there a hole in there? You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then we always say to go get an assessment at one of our local agencies. And we always say that people will be like, well, I don't think my kid's really using it. And we're like, it's just a great idea to check in. When you have an assessment, they're just going to kind of figure out what's going on in your young person's life. Is there a reason that they're depressed or anxious or trying to fit in or whatever? Or are they using substances and really we need to have some intervention at that point. So just a good practice. Go ahead.
Going back to what Jodi said as far as like really snooping, you've got to snoop because the stuff that is out nowadays would blow your mind. And that's what I brought this stuff for. It's not because I stunk and I need a deodorant.
Yeah.
But this right here, it literally looks like deodorant that you can buy in a store. But if you investigate a little further, it's a hidden compartment.
So if you look at your one that you buy at the grocery store, it doesn't look like this. It has like a little plastic bottom under your deodorant. But this one is actually made to be, they call them a safe.
Safe, hidden safe. One of the other things was pop cans. You can get these in all flavors. You can get them peanut butter containers, Pringles containers. It feels just like a can of full pop.
Yeah, it doesn't feel light or it's weighted.
The top actually comes off, and it is also a hidden safe.
So we have tons of these, like Diane said. We have water bottles. Oh, you have a water bottle.
Water bottle looks just like a water bottle. You can actually put water in the bottom of this, but since it stays in our display, we don't do it.
Some of them are weighted with it.
With water, yeah. If you screw it apart, like it's hid. No one would ever know, but you got your safe at the
We'll
bottom.
put the water, and then the stuff goes in between where the blue stuff is, and then you won't see it.
Yeah, right there.
So, like I said, we have Pringle cans, we have beer cans, we have peanut butter jars. And I have to be
We even
honest.
have a strip.
Oh, yeah. An
What do they call 'em?
extension, like a power
The
strip.
power strip.
So I say this, you can get any of this stuff online if you want to just try this out, Google home safes. I'm confident that when they were probably made, some of these would be great, if you had some money and you want to put it in the peanut butter jar and put it in your pantry. Could be a great thing, jewelry. But if your kids have in your room, they're probably not spending money to get a safe to put their valuables in. So, again, something you need to look for.
And they're sneaky. Their kids are sneaky. They're a lot sneakier than I am. But again, when you snoop, this looks like a wallet. You open it up, it's nail care. But inside of it, they hit a joint. So if you wouldn't have opened this up and looked at it, you would have thought, oh, that's just my kids' nail stuff.
So if anyone really does not know about substances, a joint is a rolled marijuana joint. So that would be something that someone would be smoking for marijuana.
Do you want to explain why we have these are screens that come out of your faucet, like your kitchen faucet, bathroom faucet. I'm sure many of you has walked into a public restroom and the water went flying everywhere when you went to wash your hands. This is something that is used in a hitter like Jodi has.
So what Diane was saying, you can purchase those, but most likely a kid's not going to purchase those. So what Diane said, something to look for in your house if the water's going. They took it out of the bathroom sink or the kitchen sink, and then they put it in their smoking device. So like in this one, you would take that screen and you'd put it down here. You put the marijuana on top, and then they'd fill it up with some water or tea or wine, beer, whatever they have. Now, why they do that is because when they have the marijuana in there, they'll light it and they're trying to cool it down so they're not coughing or it's not hard for them to breathe in. So then they would breathe this in. They'd get their marijuana till it burns off. That's kind of how it works. But they need the screen so the marijuana doesn't fall right down to the tube. So that's why if you see the water going everywhere, then you go, what's going on? And then you snoop in the bedroom.
And stuff like this is stuff that we bring to our hidden in plain sight demonstration when we do give them. It's interactive. You can feel them, you can touch them, you can look for them because some stuff we just lay out in the open, some stuff we hide.
I'm just laughing because as
How
you were
you
saying
found
how
that.
I found this. I was one morning, my husband had went out for a walk and he came back and he said, Jodi, I think there's a bong in a neighbor's yard in our development who so happened to be a teacher. Now I know it's not hers, but I'm confident a kid used it and threw it, and then we found it. So then that's how this one became in our exhibit. But what I want you to know, a lot of these kind of devices our kids might not be buying, but they could absolutely
They're
be
making
making
their
this. So they can make it out of any kind of open container. So water bottle, Gatorade bottle, soda can, apples, you can core those out. And let me tell you, any kind of drug use, if you want to snoop and be knowledgeable and get information, you just Google it online and it'll show you how and demonstrations and stuff like that. So you can purchase it anywhere, but you also can see how it's made and what it looks like locally. So this is kind of like a local young person's way to use marijuana.
That's Jodi's favorite. The one thing I really do want to touch on, I see that we're going on 25 after already.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it went fast.
Did you ask anyone a question?
There's no one has even came on and said hi to us.
Oh
so
my goodness.
I am hoping someone comes on and says hi and lets us know you're watching. And if you are, I want to see how many knows the answer to this question. CBD.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big thing about CBD. You see it everywhere. You see it in gas stations. You see it in supermarkets now. You see it in the pharmacies. Is it a fact that CBD contains no THC?
That's a good question because I have a feeling not everyone's going to get this one right.
So please, if you are listening in, give me your response. And everybody that answers this will automatically get a prize.
I was thinking today we haven't sent a lot of prizes out, so we can mail prizes
Yes, we
too.
can mail.
I think we can.
But everyone that answers this question for me, I think we'll throw them a T-shirt.
There you
Right
go.
off the bat. Everyone will get a T-shirt.
There you go.
So if you are listening, is there THC in CBD products? And while we're talking about that and we're talking about T-shirts, every year at the fair, we always have two booths. We have our booth underneath the grandstand, and we also have a booth up on the walkway at the 4-H and 4-H barn.
Yeah.
Um,
Across from the TUZ little hut, right?
Yeah. And we always do for the last 2 years, we've done a survey. This year, since we're not at the fair and we can't physically do the survey, we are asking everyone to go on the ADC's webpage, and a link will be put up on our Facebook page. Please fill out that survey for us. It is totally confidential. We will not know who's filling it out. You don't have to give any private information on it. Now, the catch is, though, if you do fill the survey out and you would like a free T-shirt for filling the survey out, you're going to have to get in touch with us. You can private message our Facebook page and say, hey, I filled the survey out. No questions asked. We'll give you a T-shirt.
There you go. That works.
Sound good?
Yep.
And Friday night from 5 to 10.
I doubt we won't be there.
I'll
till
say
10.
probably 5 to 8.
Yeah, that sounds better.
There's a event going on down in the square of New Philadelphia, and the ADC will have a table down there with resources, and our girls will have the marijuana survey, and they'll have prizes to give away down
Cool.
there.
Yeah.
So you can fill out the marijuana survey down there also.
It's called Music on the Square. Is that what it's called? I think
No.
it's something like that. Something like that. Okay.
Hey, we still haven't had no hits.
Well, we're waiting for the hits. I just want to say we have a ton of paraphernalia here, so there is. We could probably talk on the subject forever. But if someone wants to know more, again, if you go to the adctuss.org, we have really great resources, what parents need to know. And again, I think we talked about this last night. We kind of did the homework for you. We researched what is the best resources that parents need to know to have conversations with their young people or to understand today's marijuana. So I would just suggest, going to adctuss.org or calling the office as well, the 330-440-7320 if someone had questions.
Yeah, don't ask me. I
Yeah.
can look it up. This right here that I am holding in my hand, these are very good for parents and teens. The green one is one that we made for law enforcement and parents if there was an overdose. The blue one was geared a lot towards the teens, and it fits. What's nice about it, fits right in your back pocket. A teen can pick this up, and maybe they need help, but they're too ashamed to go to anyone. This has the numbers on it for them, and it's something that can go right in their back pocket. These will be down at the square, both of them. So if you want a couple, please stop and get them. It tells the
Who to
green
call,
one,
what services are
what
available.
services they accept. On the back of the blue one, it's just kind of got like your signs. So please, we have these. If you would like these, we could mail these out to you also. And the Adams board also has some too.
Yep.
So you can get these at the Adams board. And real quick, I want to touch on one more thing. We talked a lot last night about having that conversation with your kid. Having the conversation about the medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, your CBD, it's all very, very important. So the one thing that the ADC did make up was these cute little conversation key cards. Do you want to hold that?
Oh, sure.
What these are is they're just fun little questions. Not all of them have to do with drugs and alcohol. It's what it is just if you're in the car driving or you're sitting at the in your front room or outside on the porch and you're talking to your kids, this is a good way to get your kid to start talking to you. We have these free. All you need to do is contact us and let us know you would like a couple of them. Every event that we're at, we have them. research has showed that the younger your kid starts having conversations with you and talking to you, the easier it is the older they get. So that's why we made these conversation key cards. They're geared for the younger kids more than a teen, but if you can get your young
Like
teen, yeah,
elementary, early middle school.
if you can get them comfortable just having a normal everyday conversation, even a crazy one about, I think one of them is, if you could be an animal, what animal would you be? Believe it or not, a question that simple lets your kid have a voice. It lets them be available to talk to you, and you can say, okay, why did you pick that? Just little things like that will get your kid comfortable talking to you, and hopefully the older they get, they still have that line of communication.
Great. I think it's 6:30.
And it is 6:30, and we did not get an answer, but I will give you the answer. Yes, CBD does contain THC,
Very trace
very small,
amounts.
0.03,
Yeah.
but the problem is it's unregulated. Do
Yeah.
you want to touch on it?
Well, CBD just really is unregulated in our community if you're not getting that at a dispensary. But the issue is it's very difficult to take the CBD out of THC and vice versa, THC out of CBD. So you still can test positive on a marijuana drug test if you're taking CBD without intent to get high or use marijuana. So I would say if you're looking for the medical benefit of CBD, your probably best bet is to be getting that from a dispensary because you don't know what you're getting on the street or even at Giant Eagle or wherever else you might purchase it. Okay.
And that is it. It's 6:30. I want to thank you for joining us. And please, we got 3 more days. We
Yeah.
got Thursday, Friday, and Saturday yet to go. Tomorrow night, we will be talking about prescription drugs. We're going to explain our doTERRA bags, how to use them, where drop-off box locations are.
That works.
So we should have fun. Please join us. Please interact with us. I want to give away prizes.
And I would stop. Are we able to get the pork burger at the fair yet? I would just want to wish good luck for the kids down at the fair and let's support Tuscarawas County Fair. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.